When I bought my little slice of heaven, a 5-acre property with a private fishing lake just outside a suburban HOA, I thought I'd finally found peace. The property came with a small cabin, a dock, and a lifetime's worth of tranquility. But I didn't realize that my serenity would soon be under siege by the queen of entitlement herself, HOA Karen. She wasn't just any neighbor, she was the self-proclaimed president of the Lakeside Estates Homeowners Association. And she believed everything within a 5-mile radius belonged to her and her community. The first time I met her, she strutted right up my driveway as if she owned the place, clipboard in hand, sunglasses perched on her nose, and an expression that screamed, "I'm about to ruin your day." The first encounter. "Good morning," she chirped, not waiting for me to respond. "I'm Karen, president of the Lakeside Estates HOA. I just wanted to welcome you to the community." Thanks," I replied, wiping my hands on my jeans. "But I'm actually not part of the HOA. My property's outside your boundary lines." Her smile faltered. "Oh, that must be a mistake. You're within walking distance of our subdivision, and that lake is part of our community map." I chuckled. "No, ma'am, the lake's entirely within my deed. I bought it, water rights and all." She frowned, tapping her clipboard like she was ready to write me a citation. "That can't be right. We've been using that lake for years." "Well," I said, "you shouldn't have been." The community invasion. At first, I thought that was the end of it. But a week later, I found tire tracks in my grass and muddy footprints all over my dock. Someone had been fishing off my property. And judging by the litter, soda cans, chip bags, and a few Lakeside Estates HOA summer picnic flyers, I had a pretty good idea who. The next Saturday, I set up my camping chair near the dock to keep watch. Sure enough, around noon, a minivan pulled up and out piled a group of people, a couple, their kids, and a cooler the size of a small fridge. Behind them came another car. And another. Within minutes, there were nearly 10 people tromping down to my lake like it was some kind of public park. I walked over calmly and said, "Hey folks, sorry, but this is private property. You'll have to leave." A woman in a sun hat looked me dead in the eye. "Karen said we could fish here. It's community property." I almost laughed. "Karen, you mean the HOA lady?" "Yes," she huffed. "She said this lake belongs to Lakeside Estates residents." I held up my phone and showed them the property deed I had saved. "No, ma'am, it belongs to me." That's when she muttered the fateful words that started it all. "Well, we'll just see what Karen has to say about this." The HOA confrontation. Not an hour later, Karen's silver SUV came screeching up my driveway. She marched out, red-faced and furious, waving papers in her hand like she was serving a royal decree. "What do you think you're doing?" she shrieked. "Protecting my property," I said calmly. "This lake is community property." She yelled. "It's been listed as a neighborhood amenity since 2004. I raised an eyebrow. "Do you have the deed?" She froze for a moment, then sputtered, "No, but it's on our HOA map." "That's not legally binding," I said. "The lake was privately owned by the previous farmer until I bought it last year. It's right here in the county records." She stepped closer. "You can't just fence off a community lake." "Well, I can," I said, "because it's not community anything." That's when she lost it. Full-on red-faced, finger-pointing, spit-flying rage. "You think you can just move here and change the way things are done?" she screamed. "You can't keep our residents from fishing or swimming. You're part of the community whether you like it or not." I couldn't help but laugh. "Karen, you don't make the law. You make newsletters." The fence war. The next morning, I called a fencing company. Within a week, I had a tall, black, no-nonsense fence running along the property line. I installed private property, no trespassing, signs every 20 feet. I even put up security cameras to make sure no one got cute with it. For a while, it worked. But then Karen got creative. She started holding community events right up to the property line, barbecues, yoga sessions, and kids fishing lessons. She even placed benches and picnic tables so her residents could enjoy the view of the lake, which really meant they were waiting for someone to sneak in. Then came the letters, dozens of them. Each one was printed on official-looking wall letterhead, demanding that I cease and desist restricting community access, or face legal consequences. One even said I owed back dues for shared maintenance of the lake. I called the county clerk's office and the sheriff. Both confirmed the same thing. My land, my lake, my rights. The sheriff even laughed when I showed him the letters. She really thinks she runs the county, he said. You're good. Just keep the signs up. The escalation. One Friday night, I heard splashing outside. I looked out my window and saw flashlights by the dock. I grabbed my phone, turned on my porch light, and called out, "You're trespassing. I'm calling the sheriff." The lights went out instantly, and I heard people running. By the time deputies arrived, they were gone, but the cameras caught everything. Two teenage boys from the HOA, and Karen herself in the background, pointing toward the lake like a drill sergeant. I handed the footage to the sheriff, who grinned and said, "I'll take care of this." The next day, he paid her a visit. She got a trespass warning and a $500 fine. I thought that would end it. Oh, I was so wrong. The community meeting. A week later, I got an official-looking notice slipped under my door. Greater than mandatory community meeting. Topic: Lake access dispute. Location: Lakeside Estates Clubhouse. Time: 6 p.m. I almost threw it away, but then curiosity got the better of me. I showed up that evening, jeans, flannel, baseball cap, and sat quietly in the back of the clubhouse as Karen stood at the podium. "Neighbors," she began dramatically, "as you all know, our beloved community lake has been stolen from us by an outsider." Murmurs filled the room. "This individual," she continued, glaring directly at me, "has illegally fenced off a resource that's been part of Lakeside Estates for years. We must take action." I raised my hand. "Karen, I'm the owner of that resource." The room went quiet. "I have the deed right here," I said, holding up my folder. "It's not part of your HOA. Never has been," she snapped. "You don't belong here. This meeting is for residents only." "I am a resident," I said. "Just not of your kingdom." Someone from the back, a quiet older man, spoke up. "Karen, my wife and I have lived here 20 years. That lake was always part of old Miller's farm. He let us fish there sometimes, but he never said it was ours." Karen turned beet red. "You're mistaken." The room erupted into whispers. People began pulling out their phones, checking property maps, county listings, and even old Google images. Within minutes, the truth was clear: the lake was never part of the HOA. Karen stormed out before the meeting even ended. Sweet, legal revenge. I figured that was the end. But a few days later, I came home to find my fence covered in HOA flyers that read, "Greater than, no one owns nature, reclaim our lake." That was the final straw. So, I did what any fed-up landowner would do. I went official. I called my lawyer. Together, we filed for a formal no trespass order against the HOA. Then, we drafted a cease and desist letter addressed directly to Karen, warning of civil action if any more residents entered my property. My lawyer also suggested something brilliant: posting an official, members-only, fishing sign with a lockable gate. Within a week, I installed a keypad entry and set up a small online fishing permit system. $20 per day, limited to approved guests only. I even invited local veterans and kids groups to fish for free. The next time Karen tried to bring guests to her lake, she found the gate locked. When she demanded access, I simply smiled and said, "Sorry, members only." "You can't do this," she screeched. "It's discrimination. It's property law," I replied. The HOAs fall from grace. Word spread fast. Residents started realizing how far Karen had gone. The lies, the fake letters, the dues she'd been trying to collect for lake maintenance. Turns out, she'd been padding HOA funds for years under beautification projects that didn't exist. At the next HOA election, she was voted out unanimously. The new president, the quiet older man from the meeting, came over one afternoon with a pie and an apology. On behalf of Lakeside Estates, he said, "I'm sorry for all the trouble Karen caused. We looked into it, and she was using HOA money for personal expenses. She's facing an audit." I accepted the pie, cherry, my favorite, and told him not to worry about it. Water under the bridge, I said. Or in this case, under the dock. Peace at last. Almost. Months passed peacefully. The fence stayed up. The lake sparkled again without all the trash and chaos. I hosted a couple of charity fishing events, and life felt good. But Karen, oh, she wasn't done. One sunny afternoon, I caught her standing outside the fence with her arms crossed, glaring at me as I cleaned my fishing gear. "Enjoy it while you can," she said. "You can't keep the public from nature forever." I smiled. "Actually, I can. That's why I bought it." She stomped away, muttering something about environmental rights and lawsuits, but I never saw any papers. Last I heard, she moved to another HOA, probably one that hadn't yet learned her reputation. Epilogue. The irony of it all. Funny thing is, after she left, some of the HOA residents started asking me if they could buy access passes for weekend fishing. I agreed, setting up a fair membership program that supported lake upkeep and environmental conservation. Now, the same people who once yelled, "community property," are the ones helping me maintain my lake. And they're happier for it. As for Karen, a few months later, someone sent me a screenshot from her Facebook page. She was ranting in a local group about a new HOA president who doesn't respect property boundaries. I couldn't help but laugh. Some people never change. Moral of the story: when someone screams, "community property," check the deed. Because sometimes, community just means what Karen wants. And if you ever move near an HOA, invest in a good fence, a camera system, and a lawyer who enjoys fishing.